looked at this last night, and he looks like somebody who is very uncomfortable in his skin when you bring these things up about the relinquishing of our sovereignty, about handing over the reins of power.
It's a joke to them.
Right, right.
I'm a kook to them.
You're a kook to them, but only because you make them uncomfortable because you talk about real issues, and they know about the federal plans. They know about continuity of government. They've read the same stuff that we have, and they understand that they're slaves. They have to hand over the reins of power.
Hey, Bill, bring up the audio for the video, if you will.
From our governor. Moving forward to late 2008, Oregon Representative Peter DeFazio voiced his concerns about the real plans for continuity of government when the House floor in Congress. DeFazio protested the fact that as a member of the Homeland Security Committee, he was not allowed to see the plans, raising concerns that perhaps this is because of what truly lies in those plans, something the public would find alarming. Portland, Oregon also had black helicopters flown on Monday, August 25th, 2008, which alarmed people that didn't know what was going on. And the Fort Mayor authorized live fire and live rope insertions and other things. In conclusion, I ask the City Council to stand with the people, not the federal government, because you may very well be the City Council when this hits the fan. And so I ask you to stand with the Bill of Rights and Constitution, and be very, very careful about what money you take from the federal government, because that money comes with strings attached. Thank you.
Okay, now let it roll.
The toughest times we've ever faced. The worst recession in 60 years, one of the highest national unemployment rates, some of the toughest business landscape we've ever seen. Now, rightfully, I know Portlanders are not going to rely on my words.
You have to be smart to be a mayor. Why, yes, you do.
There were some kids there at City Hall.
Anyway. Yes. How do you become mayor? You have to run, and then you run, and a number of people run all at the same time, and everybody votes, and the person that gets the most votes becomes mayor.
All right, and we're back. Now, what we're seeing here is something that is very, very disturbing. We're seeing more drills, a variety of colors, helicopters flying over the Portland metropolitan area. There's a lot of concerns about military activity, troop movement, tanks that have been even seen. In particular, tanks and other forms of military equipment or hardware. I know you've heard about some of these rumors. Maybe you can substantiate or back up some things that I'm saying. Passing through the Portland area, sometimes I get photographs sent to me and other tips. So there's definitely a lot of stuff being transported in the Northwest that potentially could be used against the American people in the event of civil unrest. That's what's alarming about this. There's no disclosure to the public as to what's really going on.
Well, that's a very good point, Alex. There is this veil of secrecy between what's going on with the military and what's going on with the people, and that's one of the reasons why there's so much conjecture out there, is because it's really hard to get facts. You know, I mean, these people they're not non-communicative with us. You know, it's very odd, but occasionally I do see military helicopters flying over. I live in North. I mean, I whip out my camera and film them.
You have. I've played some of those clips here.
And they look to me as if they have sophisticated spying equipment on them. I mean, I had a friend that was in the Navy that worked on an aircraft carrier, and they have these really long protrusions, these really long antennae that stick out of the front. And he told me that this is multi-million-dollar.
Phone call.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, finish your point.
Cool. He was telling me that this equipment on the front of the helicopter that I filmed was spying equipment, the kind of stuff that can, basically like a giant parabolic mic that can focus in on areas and basically surveil people. And I found that disturbing, that's flying around over Portland.
Technology exists, they can scan through walls.
Sure. There's microwave stuff where they can bounce the signal through the walls. It's not conspiracy stuff. You can just Google this and read about it.
Was with me when I went to Seattle. We actually went to Bellingham and saw David Icke. And we saw the helicopters swarming above the Mariners game. This is all acclimation.
Circling,
And we pulled over aside. So that video is also available on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AlexAnsary. Thank you, Bill, for taking that phone call. Let's go ahead and let him on.
Yeah, Alex.
Hello.
Yeah, I was wondering if you, well, actually, let me preface this first by saying before the actual takeover begins, there are still a few pieces that they must put in place. And earlier this week, one of those pieces was revealed, a press conference concerning digital money. And I think it's Visa that is trotting out their plans to digitize money. So if you haven't caught that, go backwards to earlier this week on C-SPAN and pull up the streaming video of that and watch that and listen to the incredible guts that these people have to remove even more of our sovereignty. Thank you for your program.
Thank you very much. Bill, that tape that I set aside with Salzman, we'll go ahead and roll that. There's no sound, folks, so we're going to go ahead and get the sound for you next week. But about an hour and a half ago, Salzman was in this very room that I'm in. Go ahead and play it, Bill. And I asked him if he had any response to what I had said at City Council. And you're going to hear for yourself when we get the audio. We'll get this figured out next week. Do you have any concerns about Homeland Security or the helicopter drills? He didn't even remember what I brought up in City Council. That was very interesting. You know, there's not a whole lot of people that go to City Council bringing up these issues.
They're always very dismissive. I mean, it's like, you know, very machine-like, very robotic. I really wished, when I watched that video, I was thinking, I really wish you would have brought a stack of papers of documentation and walked up there and just slam it down on the desk in front of them and say, read this. You know, it might wake them up, because they literally, when you were speaking, Adams's face was of contempt. But the rest of the people just kind of looked like they were asleep, and I would have loved it if he would have done that, Alex. I think, you know, a little something to, you know, wake them up a little bit. I think.
Yeah, there's different levels of body language. Amanda Fritz kind of smiled when she initially saw me, and then her face went blank as soon as she heard the words coming out of my mouth. Randy Leonard looked down the entire time, was scribbling. Mayor Adams would look up every now and then when he heard something alarming, and look back down, back and forth in between scowls. And then you have Salzman. Salzman maintained eye contact the entire time and appeared to be listening, while Nick Fish appeared to be slightly amused, as if this was some sort of comedy routine. So that's my analysis of the reaction of the City Council. Let's go ahead and allow some other callers to join the conversation. 503-288-4442 or 503-288-4448. We're going to try to get as many phone calls in the first part of the show. We have some other videos as well. But, Bill, if you can get the next track ready on the DVD player, I believe that's number 3. I think this is a Bush-Obama speech comparison here. And it's important for people to look at these particular speeches where they appear more similar than different, and understand it's not just about what's going on nationally in politics. It's about local politics, and there's a lot of things going on that never changed now that Potter's no longer the mayor. Again, those secretive contingency plans for the city of Portland are still firmly intact, and we're still firmly engaged in illegal wars and bombings all over the Middle East, in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, in Yemen. There's still 1.4 million dead from this illegal so-called war on terror. And so nothing's really changed.
War
just
on a noun, yeah.
the appearance of the manager has changed.
Yeah, I call him Barack W. Bush, because, I mean, if you set the rhetoric aside from both men, okay, what you end up with is their real policies, the foreign policies, and the rise of this police state, the surveillance society, all these things that Bush brought in, and people screamed about how he's like a Nazi, a totalitarian.
Exactly.
Obama continues, and people just go about their business like it's not happening.
All right, Bill, let's go ahead and play track 3, and then we'll be back in a few.
Is the universal gift of Almighty God.
The God-given promise that all are equal, all are free.
We will work with our friends and allies across the world to defend our way of life.
We will not apologize for our way of life, nor will we waver in its defense.
We can usher in a new era of enhanced prosperity, and peace.
America must play its role in ushering in a new era of peace.
It urges